the history and civilization timeline. The Eternal Dragon, a cinematic journey through China's 5,000-year civilization. Before the Great Wall, before the emperors and revolutions, before the world knew what civilization could become, there was the Yellow River, and from its fertile soil rose a spirit that would shape the destiny of a fifth of humanity. This is the story of China. 1. Origins. Neolithic beginnings, c. 7000 to 2000 BCE. China's roots stretch back over 7,000 years, to the earliest communities along the Yellow River in the north and the Yangtze in the south. The Yangshao culture, flourishing around 5000 BCE, built semi-subterranean houses and created intricate red pottery decorated with black geometric patterns. These early agriculturalists cultivated millet and raised pigs, chickens, and dogs. They practiced ancestor worship and buried their dead with personal belongings, suggesting complex spiritual beliefs. Later, the Longshan culture, c. 3000 to 2000 BCE, marked the rise of social stratification, larger settlements, and the beginnings of urbanization. Black pottery became a hallmark of Longshan artisanship, showcasing refined techniques. In the south, the Hemudu and Mejiabang cultures independently cultivated rice and crafted tools from stone and wood, illustrating a unique trajectory of southern development. These Neolithic societies laid the agricultural, religious, and social foundations of Chinese civilization. 2. The legendary dynasties, Xia, Shang, and Zhou, c. 2070 to 256 BCE. The Xia dynasty, though semi-mythical, is said to have been founded by Yu the Great, a hero who tamed the flooding Yellow River and established hereditary rule. While archaeological links remain debated, sites like Erlitou suggest advanced Bronze Age cultures that could align with Xia narratives. The Shang dynasty, c. 1600 to 1046 BCE, provides the earliest confirmed dynasty with written records, preserved on oracle bones used for divination. The Shang were skilled bronze workers, producing ritual vessels, weapons, and chariots that reflect both their technological mastery and religious priorities. Their capital, Anyang, was a complex urban center with palaces, tombs, and workshops. Shang kings ruled as intermediaries between heaven and earth, performing rituals to honor ancestors and control nature. The Zhou dynasty, 1046–256 BCE, introduced the pivotal concept of the mandate of heaven, asserting that just rule was divinely sanctioned but could be revoked. The early Western Zhou period emphasized feudal decentralization, while the later Eastern Zhou period saw intense political fragmentation and the rise of powerful regional states, setting the stage for philosophical blossoming. 3. The Warring States and Rise of Empire, 475–21 BCE. During the Warring States period, 7 major states vied for dominance in a brutal contest that lasted over 2 centuries. Despite the violence, it was also an intellectual renaissance. Confucius, Confucius, emphasized filial piety, ritual, and righteous governance, while Laozi offered a vision of harmony through non-action, wu wei, and natural balance. Legalist thinkers like Han Feizi advocated strict laws and centralized power. Among the contenders, the Qin state under Ying Zheng ultimately triumphed. In 221 BCE, he declared himself Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China, unifying the warring states and launching one of history's most ambitious state-building projects. 4. Qin and Han, foundations of the imperial machine, 221 BCE, 220 CE. Qin Shi Huang's rule, though authoritarian, revolutionized governance. He centralized power, standardized the Chinese script, introduced uniform legal codes, and connected the empire through a network of roads and canals. He also began construction of the Great Wall using forced labor, consolidating frontier defenses. His dynasty, however, was short-lived. Brutal policies, heavy taxation, and massive conscription led to rebellion. The Han Dynasty, founded by Liu Bang, Emperor Gaozu, in 206 BCE, followed. It retained the centralized structure but softened legalist harshness with Confucian ideals. The Han Dynasty is credited with solidifying Chinese imperial culture, promoting education, and creating the civil service examination system. Under Emperor Wu, Beer, 141 to 87 BCE, the Han expanded into Korea, Vietnam, and Central Asia, opening the Silk Road and facilitating trade with Rome, Persia, and India. Advances in astronomy, medicine, mathematics, and papermaking made this era one of China's golden ages. 5. The Three Kingdoms to Tang Dynasty, 220 to 907 CE. The collapse of the Han led to nearly 4 centuries of disunity, beginning with the Three Kingdoms period, Wei, Shu, and Wu. Though short-lived, it became legendary in Chinese culture through the classic novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms, celebrating loyalty, betrayal, and strategy. After centuries of chaos, the Tang Dynasty, 618 to 907, restored unity and ushered in a golden age of culture and trade. Chang'an, the Tang capital, became a thriving metropolis of over 1 million people, attracting merchants, monks, and envoys from across Asia. Buddhism reached its peak, resulting in grand cave temples like Dunhuang and mountain monasteries. The Tang court supported the arts, science, and literature. Poets like Li Bai and Du Fu expressed both ethereal beauty and political disillusionment. Woodblock printing was developed, enhancing the spread of knowledge. 6. Song Dynasty and Scientific Renaissance, 960 to 1279. The Song Dynasty, though militarily weaker, marked a peak in technological innovation. The period saw the invention and practical use of the magnetic compass, mechanical clocks, and advanced shipbuilding. Gunpowder began to appear in warfare. The economy flourished with a growing urban merchant class, paper currency, and improved rice cultivation techniques from Southeast Asia. Neo-Confucianism arose, blending metaphysics with traditional Confucian doctrine, and became the dominant ideology. Art also thrived. Landscape painting emphasized natural harmony, often depicting towering mountains and flowing water, symbolizing philosophical ideals. Song ceramics, especially celadon and porcelain, set artistic benchmarks for centuries. 7. The Mongol Conquest, Yuan Dynasty, 1271 to 1368. The Mongols under Genghis Khan and his successors devastated northern China in the early 13th century. Kublai Khan completed the conquest and declared the Yuan Dynasty, ruling all of China as a Mongol emperor. He adopted Chinese systems of administration, but maintained Mongol social hierarchy, favoring non-Han elites. Despite ethnic tensions, the Yuan Dynasty facilitated East-West exchange. The Silk Road was safer than ever, and explorers like Marco Polo visited and wrote admiringly of Chinese marvels. Yet internal instability, natural disasters, and resentment of Mongol rule eventually led to peasant uprisings. 8. Ming Dynasty, the last great Han Empire, 1368 to 1644. Zhu Yuanzhang, a former monk and rebel leader, drove out the Mongols and established the Ming Dynasty. The early Ming was marked by reconstruction, agricultural recovery, and revival of Confucian orthodoxy. The Forbidden City, an immense imperial complex in Beijing, symbolized dynastic authority and order. Under Emperor Yongle, Admiral Zheng He led 7 naval expeditions as far as East Africa with giant treasure ships, showcasing China's naval power and wealth. However, later Ming rulers retreated inward, banning maritime trade and becoming increasingly conservative. Despite prosperity, corruption and complacency spread. Natural disasters and weak leadership led to rebellion, and the Manchu armies from the northeast ultimately toppled the Ming. 9. The Qing Dynasty, the last empire, 1644 to 1912. Founded by the Manchu, the Qing Dynasty maintained Chinese institutions while reinforcing their own ethnic dominance. They expanded the empire to its largest size, incorporating Tibet, Xinjiang, Mongolia, and Taiwan. Under emperors Qin Shi and Qianlong, the Qing experienced stability and cultural patronage. However, the 19th century brought severe challenges. The Opium Wars with Britain resulted in humiliating defeats and treaties that ceded ports and privileges to foreign powers. Massive uprisings like the Taiping Rebellion, 20 million dead, and Boxer Rebellion reflected widespread dissatisfaction. Reformers failed to modernize fast enough. After the 1911 revolution led by Sun Yat-sen, the Qing fell, ending 2,000 years of imperial rule. 10. Republic and Revolution, 1912 to 1949. The Republic of China struggled to unify a fragmented nation. Warlords divided regions, and frequent skirmishes weakened central control. In 1937, Japan launched a full-scale invasion, resulting in atrocities like the Nanjing Massacre. The Second Sino-Japanese War merged with World War II. Post-war, civil conflict resumed between the Kuomintang, nationalists, and the communists led by Mao Zedong. After years of guerrilla warfare and shifting alliances, the communists prevailed. On October 1, 1949, Mao declared the foundation of the People's Republic of China. Chiang Kai-shek and his followers fled to Taiwan. 11. The Modern Age. Trials and Transformation, 1949-present. Early communist rule prioritized land reform, nationalization, and industrial campaigns. The Great Leap Forward, 1958 to 1962, intended to catapult China into prosperity, led to one of the worst famines in human history, with an estimated 30 million deaths. The Cultural Revolution, 1966 to 1976, aimed at purging capitalist and traditional elements, caused widespread persecution and cultural destruction. After Mao's death, Deng Xiaoping emerged as a pragmatic reformer. He opened China to foreign investment and market economics under the slogan, "Socialism with Chinese characteristics." Since the 1980s, China has experienced unprecedented growth, lifting over 800 million people out of poverty. Urbanization, global trade, and technological innovation have transformed it into a 21st century superpower. Yet challenges remain: demographic shifts, environmental issues, political control, and rising tensions with the West. 5,000 years, countless dynasties, endless revolutions and rebirths. Through it all, China remains, not just a country, but a civilization. A dragon that sleeps, awakens, and dreams in its own time.